the reason I stopped the video and start a new video because it was running out of battery, so I have to plug in the AC adapter. Okay, I'm gonna continue where I left off. Basically, I was talking about the like the hard training slash practice on the combat and sport, and then that and facing the criticism that all I need is just get a minimum wage job. I don't need to go through all that hard training and slash practice and things like that. And minimum wage job don't need a lot of requirement and things like that. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning to maybe to kind of give it that transition. I think because, like I've been saying, that pretty much like I rewrote my YouTube channel description, and I kind of point out about that in my recent document, vulnerability, do not read it. I point out that I'm dealing with the following, like my family is victim of the 1975 to 1978 war. I was born in a poor feudal countryside of Song Vietnam, and I have the following inferior background: refugee status, immigrant status, low income family status, and English as second language status. So I kind of like, in a way, so pretty much because of that, the inferior background, and born in an inferior place of birth, inferior background, inferior place of birth. So about, like it's saying that just, it's very, sort of like it would argue is that just very basic, as basic as you can, just able to make a living pretty much, would argue, that's why if we bring up the, why say all I need is a minimum wage job. If I have a minimum wage job, then I meet the basic, to afford to buy food and things like that. There's the minimum wage job would able to meet the basic, getting food and things like that. That's why, it's just like, I think because you have to do with my inferior background and inferior place of birth and things like that, and also, because I felt, just a lot of struggles is, tough struggles just for the basic, like just having some food to eat and things like that, and it's like going through a lot of struggle and things like that, and I felt that's why that's why that could be the reason why that is brought up, so like, that's all you need is a minimum wage job and things like that. I think because of my inferior background and inferior place of birth, and anyway, I also just want to have that sympathy, it's just been, just felt like my parent, that's also that's what they worry about, is just to that we're able to find some food, it's like, so it's like, remember we start training us to work for minimum wage job early on, even though like it would be against the law, to you have to be pretty much at 16 or older to work minimum wage job, but they would train us early on, like I was saying, even though against the law, but because of our inferior background and inferior place of birth, they take that step, remember my family took that step and start training us early on, to prepare us to getting minimum wage job and things like that. And remember, like, before weeks before I turned 16 years old, that's when legally I could work, so remember, like, already got hired, and I'm gonna talk to my manager that I will be 16 in a few weeks and things like that, and I will meet the requirement and the law requirement and things like that. And so pretty much, like, during my first job at working at Domino Pizza, so pretty much that's what I told my manager, that I will turn 16 in a few weeks and meet the law requirement and things like that, and to work minimum wage job and things like that. And so pretty much that's the whole, because of our inferior background, inferior place of birth. So remember, a family trained us very early on to have minimum wage job, and just like means of able to find food so that you don't starve to death and things like that. And minimum wage job able person to find food, buy food to eat and things like that. And so I think it's just this struggle, I felt maybe that's all, just been a lot of struggle. And I don't know, I don't know, the other time I would apologize to my English instructors who encourage me and give me inspiration, maybe, to follow my goal on becoming a novelist and things like that. And or just like, it's kind of off the topic. Like, I was just saying, I just want to bring this up because it just been a lot of struggle. How it would be like off topic to think about, having like novelist occupation. That's why, we apologize to my English instructor and teacher slash instructor about it. It's like, I'm saying, just because. Anyway, okay, back to what I'm saying. I just have to bring that up. It's just because of the struggle. So and the same, like me. I don't know. Like, it's just because early on, just been collecting female model pictures so much, and also having all this fantasy about it. I don't know. Somewhere along the way, I must have just fantasized that I could be around a female gender. I think it's just like like, I apologize that it's just like I'm saying, it's just. Anyway, like I'm saying, it's just so much struggle. It's just like just struggle after struggle, and so it's like, it's pretty much just what I would say. Maybe in the future, maybe I will walk with a fair lady in the park. Maybe that was it. Maybe in the future, but at the time, which is struggle after struggle. It's like. So anyway, I just want to continue what I'm doing, because it bring me joy, that I've been collecting female model pictures a lot and became good at it and bring me joy. So I just want to continue on, especially during the filmography, now that I do it for the actress filmography. So I felt, now that it even means make more sense, like have more meaning to it. Back then we're just collecting just female model pictures, that one that are on magazine cover and things like that. Now that I'm doing it for filmography, so it kind of have more purpose to it and things like that. And anyway, I just want to say that it has been something that I've been doing for a long time already, since my middle school and high school years. And so it's something that brings me joy. So I felt, I'm gonna. So I want to continue doing it, and just, but I felt in my current situation, I felt it's just, like there's this problems with being around the female gender and things like that. And anyway, I just want to say, because and looking at real life female who are good looking, it's even like, you would argue that better than the picture. And anyway, so like I'm saying, I just don't want this to continue on anymore. And so I don't know, I felt maybe there's this misunderstanding broke out or something, because I've been collecting female model pictures so much, maybe that maybe I met a female or something, I don't know, like I'm saying, and also because I'm having all this fantasy and everything. So like I'm saying, just like, and it's just very hard, just to find out. Like I'm saying, I just don't want to torment myself much longer. The fact that, like, just what I point out on the other videos on overcoming being alone. Like I was saying that I went to Mexico, like I paid a prostitute to have sex with them, and with one of the prostitute basically on the first night, and then second night, like I went to a bar and, like having pretty much, I don't know what's the terminology for it, kind of like sort of like in a way kissing each other's and lap dance and things like that. So I was saying, anyway, like I'm saying that and also like that night at Belmont Park with Jessica and Stay. And so anyway, I just want to say that maybe one day, like could be around the female gender, and maybe that day could happen and things like that. It's like if I stop tormenting myself, it's like with all this confusion, like I don't know, like these, like that's why I'm gonna keep it at for now. Seeing that one day that could happen, I could be around a female. Okay, anyway, so pretty much it just also kind of okay. I'm gonna move on to the Arowra 4 update. So pretty much on the Arowra right now, which is on book 6, I'm writing. It's a lot on redemption, and pretty much the protagonist is still Rengar, Prince Rengar the second, Reinhardt, and is a new character who has been being pretty much like, alright, as I'm writing the Arowra Book Series, I would in narrate the way of life in, it's a continent. That continent is called Arowra. So the Arowra. It's pronounced as Arowra, and it's a continent with 5 countries, and it's everything, the lifestyle and culture, everything unique to just, and they call Adorans. The people who live there are called Adorans. So the lifestyle, the Adoran lifestyle and culture is unique to them, and so the other time I have to narrate and explain the cultures and things like that, and it just, it's a really big deal, like a lot of war and endless turmoil in Arowra that have to do with the Mage Stone. So that's it's a gemstone. It's a gemstone that is called a Mage Stone, and it a lot of endless, pretty much endless turmoil and war, all because of this gemstone. So there's a lot of history on this gemstone, which is called the Mage Stone. And so because of that, so I also do a lot of translation on that also, like as I'm narrating. And so pretty much because, so anything have to do with magic and sorcery. So pretty much, like all these classes that have to do with that, like you have like witch, I'm just listing the female side of it, like witch, sorceress, um, gypsy, mystic, warlock. Actually, warlock more on male side, but I don't know, like it's female warlock or not. But I am really shaman, my and all like so pretty much all these different class they all are mage. You know, in Arowra they all are known as mage. You know, they don't have all these distinctions of witch and gypsy and all of that. In Arowra is only known as mage. You know, anything to do with sorcery and magic, you are called mage. So they don't distinct you as witch or gypsy or anything like that. And so that's the and it all because of the mage stone, mainly because of the mage stone. So it's like the Edoran, they don't make distinction between different classes that use sorceries and magic. You are all known as mages in Edoran. So pretty much, but I'm doing it the translation. So I would, so pretty much like this new character, Twin Fate Belmont, and he's going with the new, like a nickname, Redemption. So this new character, he's being haunted by witches and sort of like high class mistress, and in his background, he have a lot of all these. So pretty much a lot of the story on the like book 6 is all on like witch hunts and like and the high class mistress, also like witch and high class mistress. So a lot on that, it's like the book 6 is, and really cute scenes and things like that, like burning witch and all of that. And anyway, like I was saying, but they all in Adora, they only use the word mages, so it's like instead of, so they don't call it witch hunt, they would call it mage hunt. But like I'm saying, I'm doing the narrating, so I would translate, that it's witch hunt and things like that. And pretty much like I'm saying, also because, so currently that's what I'm doing, I'm writing Adora Book 6, and it's a lot on the witch hunt and the high class mistress, highborn, high class, and mistress, and so pretty much like and a lot of cute scenes is anyway, like I'm saying, I don't know, that's why it's really hard, it's just sorry, just excuse me for a minute, just having these bothering thoughts right now. Pretty much, like I'm collecting all these pictures of female models, and I'm writing about witch hunts and burning witches and things like that. So like I was saying, I'm not purposely trying to mislead or confuse anyone. It's just, that's what I've been doing since my middle school and high school years. Been collecting female model pictures, and it brings joys to me doing that. And this is, like I was saying, anyway, I still have to read the almost like around 70 pages on the controversy on writing Adora. I still have to print it out and read it out loud as in one of these videos. It's pretty much, I'm s- I'm s- I'm working on that. Pretty much it'll come up soon. I'm still working on that. Just been really busy with my schedule right now. So pretty much it wasn't really about. There were a lot of there were characters who mages, pretty much like some of these mages were in throughout the Arowra Book Series, and it wasn't hunting for mages. Pretty much, like I was saying, it's like, so that could also be another misled and confusion. So it's like, anyway, pretty much, like I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna start. I'm working on that. It'll be happening soon, so I'm gonna read that out loud. The controversies on writing Ada. It's around 70 pages.